Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today na Saturday, number 9 day for this month of September 2023. My name na Capo Daniel, una own countryman, sense past king, Mr. No Connie. Una welcome to our daily podcast, a program where it bring una the truth, it bring una meaningful information, fact-based analysis for help we as we work out for this journey to our freedom, to the independence of Ambazonia. Our great people at home and abroad are bring una revolutionary greetings. We start today with sweet news where they come out for the border between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon for come between Bui State and La République du Cameroon, their western province, with an attack led by General Capo and Colonel No Mercy of the ADF for Insabui, together with the forces them for wind damage. They attacked the post, they seized the Cameroon checkpoint, making away with protective gears and burning down one Cameroon transportation military vehicle. The Cameroon Brigade headquarters was also set on fire as video images emerges from General Capo.
The brigade is all things go down. And the motor that way we don't burn them for life. With wind damage. Secretary for wind damage for your life. Yes. This we pass the go Nigeria. We don't over worry with civilian employee over.
The video footages it show how the brigadier be burned. Our forces then be totally in charge of the checkpoint and the crossing border between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon.
General Capo life. We don't have a brigade for loose. The brigade for loose. We die. We don't run. We don't take loose. We don't take loose. Shasha not dead. We don't take loose. We don't take loose. We don't take loose. We don't take loose.
These are the wonderful type of attack that can help Ambazonians to make progress and bring La République du Cameroon on their knees. Imagine a scenario where today Ambazonia are focused on celebrating this big victory that is the attack in the border in Luz, together with the attack in Lebialem when Ambazonian forces used an IED to target a Cameroon military truck, neutralizing all of its occupants. Imagine how sweet and how focused our message will be to everybody, including to the international community. But today, such wonderful news and sweet news is being suppressed with news that we are having a useless, nonsensical 2 weeks lockdown that targets education of our children and undermines the community school that we ourselves have authorized throughout our national territory. Adangate continual push from certain members of our public where they talk say Capo Daniel, if all we just agree about this lockdown, since it already go on, it go even show say it be better, and I don't tell our people them, say it no matter whether all we will agree for something, if the thing is wrong, it is wrong, even when you agree that it is right. It will not change the effect. It is a matter of principle. When you do something wrong, the effect will always come eventually. It is not something that you can doubt. This is science. In political science, it is a science because it does not fail. When you do something wrong, there will be definitely a negative effect sooner or later. And remember, Joseph Weber, Honorable Joseph Weber, said that when an injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. This does not apply only to the Americans where he copied this saying. It applies to La République and in Ambazonia. When we put law and policy and we take action that target our people illegally, unnecessarily, there will be a backlash. It is just a matter of time. Imagine all those children in Munya that were put on the ground to sit on the ground, running away from community school. Most of them abandoning their school bags because they don't want to be seen as children coming from school. Imagine the 4 vehicles, civilian vehicles that were burnt. 2 drivers who were the sole provider of bread in their family. They were burnt alive. Ambazonian own soldiers burning their own community people alive for violating a lockdown. The same group, remember that the ADF of Ayabacho and all those who are following him spend their time together with me, Capo Daniel, to educate our people that when soldiers, they do excessive, it destroys the struggle. We suffer so much to stop the killing of our people that used to come from Ekok border into Bamenda. Because of lockdown, they were being shot, vehicles were being shot, civilians were being killed. It transformed many drivers on that highway road to start providing information to the Cameroon military that led to the killing of many of our soldiers in Gozang, in Bali. We criticized General Lucifer, called his name from generation to generation for the people he was shooting on their legs because they violate Ghost Town. The Ambazonian Governing Council and all their talking heads were saying that Sako is working for La Republique. That is why soldiers of the ARF, they are doing this excessive, killing our own people. So after you have spent 2 years to articulate something that is reasonable, today you are doing the same thing, and then you expect that we should just come around and saying what you are doing is right now. So things are right not because it is right or wrong, but because of who is doing it. When it was Sako doing it, it was wrong. Today you think it is going to be right because you are doing it. And the hypocrisy this way, it led we make we spoil this struggle. And one of those talking heads, now pastor, this one way they were South Africa, they call it Pastor Assange, Reverend Pastor Assange. He really get church where every Sunday he go sit down for they pray for people them. You, Pastor Assange, your friend for South Africa, Pachie, he come out say one campaign against Francophone, Frog must go. You come out, you go to the extent for talk say, Pachie, Nandampolo is relative. In an employee where it benefit from Dampolo investment for South Africa. So the campaign for against Francophone them, na Dampolo it dan sponsor Pachie. Make it go do am. Ambazonian ADF member them for South Africa, the one for beat Pachie kill am with hand physically. Some of them promise say if their one relative it die because of this frog must go, they go catch Pachie kill am. Today, Ayabacho it dan embrace the frog must go. He announced them as a policy. Even not just talk them like a policy, say frog must go, they go drive frog. He talks say make them kill the Francophone them. And then you as a pastor now, you support them without any conscience, without your conscience even touching you a little bit. That shows you how far we have fallen from principle. We think that by pleasing ourselves, impressing ourselves, we are winning. No, it does not work like that. I'm going to play the interview of his ambassador Philip Van Dam, who is the ambassador of the European Union, one of the champion of justice for Ambazonia. I have written to this man severally in my capacity as an activist to highlight the crime that Cameroon government was committing in Ambazonia. And he has always been proactive for our cause. And today he is leaving Cameroon. His interview will shed light to what the diplomatic community have been saying and how they observe our own struggle. Listen to him and listen carefully.
Make my opinion very clear through the social media at several occasions. I find it simply outrageous, really a scandal. How can people claim they're speaking on behalf of the people of the Northwest, Southwest, and at the same time sacrifice the future of the kids of the people of those regions? I find it absolutely scandalous and honestly also a hypocrite, because these people in the diaspora, they can send their kids to school and sacrifice the people on the altar of whatever you claim and pretend to represent these people is absolutely unacceptable. And having
so when they hear the representative for the European Union, that means for all the European country them, it talks say it is unacceptable. They not believe say those who then for the diaspora as our policy for school it be perceived by them. It be unacceptable. and they not believe say we represent na the interests of our people them in the way we would conduct this school policy and how we operate for ground, especially with this lockdown way they go on. Make una listen, I wanna go understand how derailing and how this issue for this school boycott, this lockdown and these actions against school, they don't really tarnish the image of our struggle. They don't deconstruct every our construct for build a narrative for our country where if we help we for attain self-determination, where if we help the leadership for the struggle for represent a positive and viable, attractive narrative for our right of self-determination. Listen carefully.
Outrageous, really a scandal. How can people claim you're speaking on behalf of the people of the Northwest, Southwest, and at the same time sacrifice the future of the kids of the people of those regions? I find it absolutely scandalous and honestly also a hypocrite, because these people in the diaspora, they can send their kids to school and sacrifice the people on the altar of whatever you claim and pretend to represent these people is absolutely unacceptable.
So when I hear that they perceive and say they pretend, so they represent the interests of our people when we are not, based on the assessment of this school boycott issue. When I remember very well my country people them say when I be talk say maybe we cancel the complete ban for education and then allow private school, allow community school, mission school them open except Cameroon government school. Majority of those people them for the age of C, including Ayabacho and most of our people them, they be talk say na bad thing what one do it means I don't go chop money. That primitive way. Imagine if we no be done even allow this community school policy make it go on. Just imagine this struggle could have ended. But of course our people don't know this, because those who are best placed, those who are educated, those who are engaged with the international community who are supposed to educate them, they take advantage of their lack of knowledge because they want to just get their support as leaders. They don't really care about what is really happening or the end game of the struggle, so long as they feel the hype of being in the winning side or being in the dominant side and having that pleasure of belonging in a group. That is what has caused this cancerous behavior that we have within our struggle. Continue to hear.
Unacceptable, and having maintained that throughout the years is absolutely understandable, and it's not only that. It's the school boycott. It's killing of innocent people. It's the harassing of young girls trying to go to school, and you have seen some of these videos circulating, which are honestly awful, where they force people to undress and so forth. I mean, what happens is beyond what is understandable. These are honestly violations of fundamental human rights and crimes against humanity, honestly.
Excellency, do you think?
So those are the highest word you can use to condemn something, crime against humanity. We cannot obstruct and appear to be obstructing the education of our people. We can't. Having a lockdown that targets our community school, I don't get a lot of people where they talk say maybe in La Republic that engineered this lockdown, and I don't think so. I just think that just our own foolishness. Yes, there will always be the people that manipulate us to derail us by presenting themselves like advisors to these boys, and those who are not competent will be vulnerable to such Cameroon intelligence work that helps us to kill ourselves and to attack ourselves the way the Cameroon government wants it to be. There is always that. But we are the primary people who are responsible. When you support something like this, there is no way you can say you are fighting for our people. It doesn't just make sense. You cannot be fighting for our people, yet you are locking down community school when you know that they are already sacrificing for Monday. You can't do that and you say that you are fighting for our people. It does not make sense. Things that doesn't make sense should never be supported, even if it's just to go along. We have gone along with many things in the past in this struggle, and if we have learned from one thing to another, is that the price we pay at the end is always greater than the hype we have from the happiness during that period. Imagine if we waste all this energy of blocking this road to block the road when Dangote was in Buea. Imagine it. We have been derailed. We have lost our focus. We are chasing shadows for the most part. And that must come to an end if this struggle should and will bring anything positive for the life of our people. Otherwise, it is going to be a regret at the end.
Who fight for whatever political agenda have the courage to formally lift the school boycott, okay? Then you're only left with the criminals, because indeed we all know that, of course, this conflict, and like all conflicts, when they take too much time, they tend to move into economies of war economies, where a lot of people benefit from the situation on the ground, and you have a criminalization of the situation on the ground. But the criminals on the ground, they don't have any interest in maintaining the school boycott. They have interest maybe in hijacking people and ransoming people and at roadblocks and organizing all kinds of traffics. But they don't have an interest in school boycott. So if there is a call by those so-called leaders to lift the school boycott, schools will be open from one day to the other, and these will change the dynamics on the ground.
An Excellency.
So that is an analysis. Some person go feel like saying a Capo Daniel the talk. That is how conflicts usually would end if we do not come to any meaningful solution or being reasonable enough to take the opportunities that we have to have a solution that is amicable. Our forces will end up in economic interest entanglement, as we have seen developing across our territory, blocking road here and there, which mean absolutely nothing to the international community, and the criminalization of groups on the ground will be the end of the story, where activities on ground zero will just be seen as criminal activities by the international community, and all effort will be focused on helping our people move on, and things will be dealt with at that level. That is the total loss scenario. Do not think that a defeat of Ambazonia would mean that all Amba boys will disappear. No, there will be Amba boys forever. It will never end. The thing is, will they be perceived as pursuing a political agenda, or they will be seen as criminal gangs, cartels, just like you see the Lord Resistance Army in Uganda, or you see the evolution of the war in Colombia, which to an extent have evolved properly. But rarely do you see those evolution when a fight that starts from a political objective transform itself the way our struggle is being transformed. These are truths that can come only from a good place. If I don't love my country, Ambazonia, if I don't love my people, the Ambazonian people, my own country people on the ground, the lay people, if I don't love you, I will not bear the burden to tell you this truth. I will just step aside like many others. You have heard the opinion of Mark Barata on this subject. You have heard the opinion of everybody. Trust me, the international community assertiveness at this stage should be an indicator that any blind man can see, any deaf can hear. As they talk, no man need to tell blind man tawe market is close. Even mumu, you know how to cry. So help us God. Capo Daniel, signing out, looking out for you.